Dear student, today we will discuss about Lamarkism. The theory on the mechanism of evolution of the life on earth was given by Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck and is called Lamarckism. So this particular theory is known as Lamarckism, which was given by Lamarck in 1809. And the name of the theory is the inheritance of acquired character in organism. The statement of the theory, or we can say the theory, state that the changes in the structure or function of any organ acquired during the lifetime of an individual is in the response to the change in the surrounding environment and are inherited by the offspring and keep on adding over a period of time. Now let's understand the evolution of giraffe from deer-like animals. So the deer-like animals evolved to giraffe. So they are present at particular today's time, and these were the ancestors. And the time evolution is like millions or billions of year ago, always. So here the millions of year it took to convert the deer to the giraffe by nature. Now, what are the factors which are operated on this? The changes in the environment, and second is change in the structure of the organism, function or behavior of the organism. So, change in the environment, it is very gradual. The grasslands were converted into desert. So, there was a climate change. The vegetation turned into the trees. And the short neck stretches to long neck. This was the change acquired by the organism. All four limbs were equal in the short, you can say deer like animal or ancestor, whereas the four limbs become longer than hind limb in giraffe. Now, in view of Lamarckism, change in the environment create new need for the organism. Now, what are these new needs? They are required for better adaptation with the environmental changes. So, these new need for the organisms are required to fulfill the new need. The organism acquired new character or a trait or a behavior in three different ways according to the Lamarck. Now, let's understand the organism acquired, what are these three different ways by which it acquired new traits. So they are: number one, use and disuse of organ; number two, inheritance of acquired character; and number three, effect of environment. Use and disuse of organ says that while acquiring new trait, an organism exhibit greater pressure on certain organ and certain organ become less in use. So there is pressure on certain organ, they get well developed, and the one which do not bear this or exhibit or the pressure did not exhibit on certain organ, they become less in use. So use of certain organ will make these organ more efficient, while continuous disuse of certain organ make them weak or degenerate. Now, inheritance of acquired character, he believed that in every generation new characters are acquired and transmitted to next generation. So, new characters that have accumulated generation after generation over a period of time resulted in the present existing individual and the environment. And what is the effect of environment? Environmental factors such as light, medium, food influence the functioning and behavior of the organism. So the three traits, the three different ways by which it acquired characters are these, and the acquired characters are inherited to the next generation. The new offsprings are born in change environment and have better chances of survival because they are adapted well. Okay, so this is what is the theory of Lamarckism. Now, there is one more example, like consider the evolution of snake from the limbed lizard-like animals. So, these are the ancestor animal from which the present snake have evolved, And what were the adaptations in the ancestors? The lizard-like body with limbs to walk in jungle in search of food. So these adaptations were favoring the environment in which these ancestors were present. Now, what was the change in the environment? Okay, the change in the environment is presence of large and more powerful mammals. So they have evolved. So they were also competing for the food. So what is the now need of this animal to get changed, to get rid of the fear of mammals? So what are the new character that are acquired by these ancestor of snakes? And these are creeping instead of walking, because legs were hindrance in creeping and burrowing. So they don't want leg, so they started creeping, stretch their body and gradually become elongated. So gradually they become elongated. So what is disuse of organ here? The legs were hindrance, so they were not no more in use. And what was the use? The stretch of their body usually become elongated. Okay, so snake limbless adaptation is long slender body, limbless or reduced limb. So this is what one of another explanation which explains the theory of Lamarckism. Now we'll just discuss why this Lamarckism theory of evolution was criticized or is not so accepted. So Mendel's law of inheritance in 1865 and Weismann's theory of continuity of germplasm discarded Lamarck's concept of inheritance of acquired character. August Weismann performed an experiment in which he cut off the tail of rat for many generations as 22 generations to obtain the tailless offspring of rat, but they were never born according to never born. So according to him, the characters those influence the germ cell are not inherited and not the one where only somatic cells are involved. Okay, so the character should influence whatever new change in trade is there, it should influence the germ cell. Okay, not necessarily the somatic cell. So only the character get inherited if they are influencing the germ cell. The cutting of tail only affected somatic cell and not the germ cell. Now the theory was modified and this is called neo Lamarckism, referred to the modern version of Lamarckism that retains the fundamental concept of Lamarckism. According to that, only those modifications are transferred to next generation which influence the germ cell. So here we complete with the Lamarckism. Thank you.